Hey everybody, my name's Amber. I am an attorney at Amber K. Boyd Attorney at Law, and today I'm giving you your legal tea. First of all, I want to say thank you to everyone who has emailed me questions or slid in my DMs with questions, sent me messages and via LinkedIn with questions regarding employment law. I greatly appreciate it. I'm always interested to see what questions people have. And I'm really happy to provide this knowledge because employment law is not intuitive. We don't necessarily know all the rules, but it's an area that really y'all impacts every area of our lives. Because when you go to work, you spend more time at work than you do at your home. Also, this is how we make a living. This is how we support our families, and so our job can just impact so much of our lives. And so I want to make sure that I'm providing you all with information that is pertinent. So I'm so thankful for your questions, but also I want to make sure that I'm equipping you all with information that's going to help you live a life free of discrimination and stress and retaliation. And so I'm really excited to be providing you all with this. So just to get right into it, I got a couple questions this week that I thought were really interesting. And so I wanted to kind of talk to you all about them and kind of go over them. So, one question that I received was if I was terminated for reporting someone for using an illegal substance on the job, let's say illegal substance. If I'm reporting someone using a legal substance on the job, if I got terminated for that, could that be retaliation? And the truth is no. In Indiana, this is specifically for Indiana, it's not going to be retaliation for reporting someone for using a drug on the job. Because in Indiana, you have to engage in what we call protected activity. That means that you are complaining about some form of discrimination that's tied to your protected class. So, because you're complaining because you're not being treated fairly because you're a woman, you're complaining because you're not being treated fairly because you're a man, or because of your age or your race or your or your national origin or your military status. I mean, you're making that complaint, or you're complaining that you're being harassed due to your race or your age or your disability or your gender. So the retaliation centers around you making that complaint. However, so there's always a caveat to everything I say, especially when it comes to employment law. The caveat is if you complained of this tobacco use, and the reason they said, look, we're terminating you straight up because we don't want to listen to you complain about somebody using a illegal substance. We don't want to deal with that. What you can then say is there's somebody who has done something worse than me, right? Somebody who's done something worse than me that has not been terminated for that offense, which honestly, in this case, probably isn't very hard to do, right? So if you say, look, I just complain that people are using this illegal substance, you are saying you're terminating me for complaining of someone using this illegal substance, then you can then go and say, hey, these individuals who have done X, Y, and Z that are far worse than the complaint that I made, and they're being they weren't terminated. And that these people who you're pointing to, if they're outside your protected class, so if you're a Black woman and this person is a Caucasian male and he did something that was far worse than you, then you can make that distinction that, hey, you've been being treated different because of your race. And that's not retaliation. That's pure and simple discrimination. And so you want to make sure that, so retaliation is very different from discrimination. So you want to make sure that you can make those distinctions. And this is why you contact an attorney, whether it's myself or someone else, to kind of help you walk you through that, because we use terms like retaliation, harassment, and discrimination very loosely, but they have significant legal meaning that we want to make sure that we're using correctly in order for us to be able to prove our case, and in order for us to be able to make sure that we're articulating what the real issue is. So keep that in mind when it comes to retaliation and discrimination. There are huge distinctions between the two. Another question I received was from someone who said, these things are happening at their job. They were later terminated, and they're really trying to figure out what will be the benefits of them suing their employer. And so, one, you really have to think of, it's an internal process, an internal answer that you have to come up with, because these lawsuits, they're not something that, you go to small claims court and it begins and ends in the same day. It doesn't happen that way. If you are working for a company with more than 15 employees, and if it's a race case or a gender case, or you're filing a case under Title VII, then the case has to stay with the EEOC for at the very least, or very most, really, 6 months. So the very least, it has to be there for 6 months, really. So for the EEOC to investigate, the EEOC is the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission. They have to investigate this case statutorily. They have to do so. Unless it's a race case, you can file directly in federal court. However, typically you're going to file an EEOC case because there's usually a mixed case. There usually is maybe a race, might be a gender. So you want to make sure that you are checking each box that is in your best is best for you. With that being said, though, that's a time commitment for that you're committing to this case. And even if you hire an attorney, which you should, that you're still going to have some input to the case. It's still going to be something that you're going to have to deal with. And so, one, you have to make sure that you want to deal with filing a lawsuit, going the long route in order to hold your previous employer accountable. That leads me to my second point. I believe in these cases because I truly believe that we all have a right to work in a place, in an environment that is not discriminatory. And I believe that purely, like, down to my bone. I truly believe that. And so you have to hold these employers accountable for discriminating against you, for retaliating against you, for even allowing you to be harassed. And so you want to make sure you do that. I think there's accountability standpoint for it. I tell my clients all the time, none of these companies want to pay you a dime, because usually there's a monetary value to your case, or a monetary award that you can receive. They don't want to pay you anything. So holding them accountable and hitting their bottom line is going to be really, I think, is really advantageous to you, and shows that you are willing to stand up for what you believe in, stand up for your rights. Also, another thing is, I think that, going into my third point is, there's a monetary gain to these cases. If you're discriminated against, if you lose your job, you can recover your lost wages. You can recover compensatory damages as well. You can even recover your attorney fees or costs that you paid into this case. And you may even get punitive damages if we're able to go to trial and win. So there is a monetary advantage to these cases that I think is very advantageous to a person as well, because you should want to be made whole, right? If you are being discriminated against, you are terminated, there's a amount of time that you just don't have a job. So you want to make sure that you can recover those lost wages, and then the stress that comes with not having a job. I just know myself, when my money is not right, I get stressed out. So I can only imagine someone else when they are not receiving the paychecks that they have come accustomed to, that you're stressed out. You have a family typically to provide for, and so you should be compensated for that stress as well. And so that's some of the reasons why you should file a lawsuit if you've been discriminated against. I think there's accountability standpoint, there's a monetary gain to it, but I also want to make sure people understand what they're getting themselves into. The third question that I receive is, if you were discriminated against, you file a lawsuit, should you go seek a medical care, or go to a therapist? In my opinion, if you need to talk to someone regarding the termination, go talk to someone. And I really tell everybody, whether they've been discriminated against, whether it's illegal or whether it's just unfair, to go talk to someone if they're suffering from, or if they experience a significant job loss. And I say that because there's a grieving process that occurs that people go through when they lose a job. It's not fun to lose a job. It's very stressful to lose a job. I mean, I'm preaching to the choir, I know. And it takes a toll on you, because so many times we tie our self-worth to our jobs, to the work that we do every day. And so it really is beneficial to you to go seek some help, go talk to someone regarding the loss of a job, because it's nothing to be ashamed of, because we've all lost a job. We've all been fired, myself included. And so it's nothing to be ashamed of, but it is something that we all go through, and it's no need for you to suffer in silence. So definitely go talk to someone if need be. I will actually include in the comments a great therapist, Wells Counseling, Elizabeth White. She owns it. She's amazing, amazing, has an amazing team. She can provide you with fantastic services. And so I would really, really advise you to do that. If you lost a job, if you're suffering from some form of depression or anxiety regarding the job loss. So definitely think about doing that as well. And y'all, those were the questions that I had this week. Very interesting questions. It's kind of a wide array of questions. So, and I was happy to answer those questions. If you have any questions, I will have our next legal tea is going to be next Thursday, same time, every day. I should be in my office that day. And so I'll be able to answer your questions. Please send them to my LinkedIn messaging. Don't hesitate to slide in my DMs. Just make sure you're appropriate because I am a married woman. So, slide in my DMs with your employment law questions, and I'll be happy to answer them for you. If you have any other questions, please, please, please do not hesitate to give our office a call. Or if you have an employment law matter, please don't hesitate to give our office a call. We will be happy to help you. Our phone number is 317-210-3416, or you can give us an email us at info@amberboydlaw.com. You all, I hope this video was helpful. If it was, please like it, please share it. And as always, enjoy your lunch break. Thanks so much. Have a great day. Bye.